How are you, everybody? I hope if you are a boxing fan, you got to see Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn fight, because if you did not see it, watch the replay. You will be in for a treat. It was a phenomenal fight. 15 or 20 minutes after the fight ended, as I'm recording this, and I still got goosebumps. I mean, it was that kind of fight. And what they showed in the 12th round, it was like a Rocky film. It really was. They came out in the 12th round, and it was just balls to the wall. They started throwing punches. Conor Benn went to the ropes, and they stood against the ropes for much of that final round, just throwing punches, both left, right, left, right, left, right. And there was no technique. It was just, I want to hit this guy as much as I possibly can. And the interesting thing was, in that 12th round, when they were going at it so fiercely, and the crowd of over 67,000 in Tottenham, England, that they announced today at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, was going crazy. They were fighting right in front of their fathers. 35 years ago in November, Chris Eubank Sr. defeated Iole Benn in Birmingham, England. They had a rematch that was a draw in 1993. But so this fight has been brewing since before these fighters were born. And boy, did it live up to it. Chris Eubank Jr. won a unanimous decision, 116-112 on all cards. That is how I had it. It was a terrific fight. And I want to say this. This shows when you match evenly matched fighters, it doesn't matter about the skill level of the fighter. Of course, if they're bums, then we notice it, right? But when you have elite world-class fighters, even if these guys aren't top 10, top 15, top 20 pound for pound, they're good boxers and they're evenly matched. And boy, is that magic. And the rivalry between them, they both wanted to win so badly, and they gave their heart in the ring. I thought that Conor Benn came out pretty well and looked good. He hurt Eubank in the beginning of the fight. And there was a question about how Benn would be able to take punches from Eubank, who has won a super middleweight title, or has competed as super middleweight. And Ben has been mostly a welterweight for his career. He moved up to middleweight for this fight. There was also questions about Eubank because he didn't make weight. The weight was 160. He came in over it, although he did make the rehydrate weight this morning. So he did make under 170, and that was what he had to do. But the fight was just absolutely phenomenal. I thought Eubank was just a little bit sharper and crisper with his punches. Ben was just a little wilder, and I thought that was the difference in the fight. Eddie Hearn is the promoter of Conor Benn, and he was talking about it was closer. I really thought it was pretty obvious who won the fight, and the live odds on DAZN, on DraftKings, recognized that. They showed that Eubank was up big most of the fight. That's looking at what they think was going on in the fight. I don't see much argument among the public about who won the fight. Eddie's trying to build the case for Conor, and that's his job, and I understand that. But there is no controversy in this fight. It was a clear Chris Eubank win. It was a better fight, though. It was just a phenomenal fight, and I think that this is the kind of fight that will lift boxing in front of a big crowd. There was an intense rivalry, and this is the kind of thing that I think I would love to see more of. Move the fights around the world, put them in the spots where they're going to do the best, where they mean the most, where the crowds are going to be into them, and it'll get the fighters wound up. And I think you saw that with both Chris and Conor. I keep wanting to say Nigel, but with Chris and Conor. And the interesting thing that I thought really was Chris Eubank Sr. Was in Junior's corner. They have had kind of a funny relationship, and they haven't always been together. And in the build-up to this fight, Chris Eubank was fined $130,000, 100,000 pounds, when he smashed an egg into the face of Conor Benn at a press conference. Chris Eubank Sr. was really upset about that. He criticized his son, said he wasn't going to go. And then today on the broadcast, if you were watching DAZN, you saw the car pull up, and out of one side gets Chris Eubank Jr., and out of the other side gets out Chris Eubank Sr., and he was in the ring, and he was in his son's corner the whole way. Chris Jr. said that having his father there made a difference and gave him a lift in the fight. And, who knows if that extra motivation is what won him the fight. But it was I just can't say enough about how fantastic this fight was. I thought that Conor Benn, had he stayed within his game plan and not gotten so wild, I think he might have won the fight. He really took Eubank shots really well. I thought Eubank a couple of times was buzzed, and he was on Bambi legs on ice. I mean, he was buzzed a couple of times, especially early in that fight. And I thought that Conor Benn could have won this fight. I think when he looks at the fight and he kind of evaluates his performance, he kind of brawled when he could have boxed more. And I think that's something that, he is going to regret. There is a rematch clause. What do they do? I hope that they do it again because it's going to be good for the sport. It's going to get a lot of people talking. It's going to be hard to live up to what they did today, right? I mean, that was such a great fight, such a fun event. People were into it. It was really amazing. The turnout. And if you were watching the broadcast on DAZN, you would notice that the stands were empty for much of the show, right? They showed up for that one fight. They showed up kind of during the co-main event between Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yard, and they were there for that main event, and boy, did the main event deliver. Now, what do I think of both of these fighters overall? I don't think either one is a serious world championship contender. There are so many belts out there that could one of them, from this point forward, win a belt, probably. But I don't look at these guys as a threat to the elites in their division. I don't see them beating the absolute top guys. Certainly Eubank isn't going to win at 160 or 168 a world title unless there's a big changing of the guard from who's there right now. And I just don't see Conor Benn having that either at welterweight or at middleweight, depending on where he decides he wants to fight. But I thought that they both lifted themselves with the way they performed in the ring. They came to fight. They showed a lot of heart. They didn't quit. And then they conducted themselves like classy gentlemen when the fight was over. And that was really important, I thought. When it was over, neither one was complaining. Neither one was, accusing the other of dirty tactics or anything. They accepted the outcome. They admitted that they fought with their hearts. They fought as hard as they could fight, and they accepted what went on. The fathers, additionally, were classy and conducted themselves that way. And so I think, this was a win for both boxers, for both fathers. And most importantly, it was a win for the sport of boxing. Boxing is a sport that gets the black eye so often. And tonight it did itself proud. I thought this fight was the perfect fight between the two perfect fighters. And boy, oh boy, did they deliver. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you want to see a rematch? Who do you want to see either of them fight next? Who did you think won? I'll be curious to hear who you thought won the fight. As I said, I had it 116, 112 for Chris Eubank. I have, as I'm recording this, I have yet to see the official scorecard, so I don't know how my scores round by round compared to the judges. But I'll be curious to hear what you guys think. If you don't already, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. Like this video. And later on KevinIole.com, I will have a column on this fight, so go there and check that out. I would appreciate it greatly. I'm glad to have a chance to meet you. I hope you enjoy the fights, and we will see you all soon. Have a great day, everybody.